you are troubled. He said, what is it? He said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I just had an argument with Umar raziyallahu anhu. And in that argument, I knew I was wrong. I knew I shouldn't have said what I said. And I asked Hazrat Umar raziyallahu anhu to forgive me. I didn't mean to say what I said. Please forgive me. And he refused to do it. He refused to do it. And the Master Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a smile on his face. Meanwhile, Hazrat Umar is going looking for Hazrat Abu Bakr raziyallahu, trying to find him to say, that's okay, I forgive you now, I forgive you now. So he went to his house, he wasn't there. He said, where's Hazrat Abu Bakr raziyallahu anhu? Someone said, he's in the mosque with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he goes to the mosque, Hazrat Umar, and he walks in, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam smiles and asks him to sit down on his left side. And he sits down, and Hazrat Abu Bakr raziyallahu anhu begins to apologize. So I'm sorry about what happened, and so forth and so on. And so before he could finish his apology, the Master Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Umar, he said, let me tell you something, Umar. When I received this message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I came out and preached to the inhabitants of Mecca. Hazrat Abu Bakr raziyallahu anhu came to me and wanted to accept Islam. I wanted to give him an explanation on Islam, and he said, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt how I feel towards you as a human being and you as the prophet of God. And so he accepted. So when I went to other people in Mecca, and he was making reference to Hazrat Umar raziyallahu anhu hearing his message in Mecca, they called me a liar. Abu Bakr did not. So he is indeed a true companion. And Hazrat Umar raziyallahu anhu said, from that day on, no one said anything negative about Hazrat Abu Bakr raziyallahu anhu. That was his status. And in one of the last messages that was given by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, if it were permissible for me to love any companion more than one, I would have preferred Hazrat Abu Bakr raziyallahu anhu. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give me that permission. That love, that intensity, that kind of love is only reserved for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's another story about Zayd. When Zayd had went to fight in the war of Mu'atta, and he was leaving, the Master Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam appointed him as the general of the army that was leaving. And he said, if anything happens to you, then the next in line would be Ja'far, Hazrat Ja'far raziyallahu anhu, who was his cousin, and the next would be Hazrat Abdullah raziyallahu anhu. So as the war progressed, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting in the masjid in Medina, and all of a sudden his body began to twitch, and he said, Zayd ibn Thabit is gone. Then his body twitched again. He said, Ja'far is gone. His body twitched a third time, and he said, Abdullah raziyallahu anhuma is gone. And then he said, Allah has given the command to Khalid ibn Walid. All this why the Prophet ﷺ is sitting in the mosque in Medina and the war is many, many miles away. It's amazing. It is truly amazing that we don't realize the relationship that the Prophet ﷺ had with his companions. In conjunction with this story, when Zayd's daughter, a little girl, had heard about the death of her father, she was crying uncontrollably, and nobody could comfort her. And Rasulullah began to cry, and his tears were rolling from his cheeks, they say, and his companions were standing there. And one of the companions asked, he said, Ya Rasulullah, why so much emotion? Why do you feel so much emotion over the death? He said in simple words, this is love. This is love.